Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Ruth Whitaker, and I'm the Director of Civic Innovation Policy at Chamber of Progress, a tech industry coalition that works to ensure that everyone benefits from technological leaps. Our partners do include AV companies, including Aurora, Waymo, and Zoox, but our partners do not have a vote or veto over our positions. I'm here today to support SB 949, which would establish a framework for the deployment of autonomous vehicles in Maryland. These vehicles have the potential to save thousands of lives and expand mobility for thousands of people across the state. They also have the potential to create hundreds of thousands of high-paying jobs and connect people to millions of others. Finally, AVs will reduce roadway emissions and help Maryland reach its goals of net zero emissions by 2045 for the deployment of autonomous vehicles in Maryland. These vehicles have the potential. By creating a pathway for the deployment of autonomous vehicles, this bill will unlock these benefits for Maryland residents. I know the safety benefits have already been covered, and I'm sure that other panelists are going to cover the accessibility benefits as well. So I'd just like to highlight some of the economic benefits that AVs will bring. Our research found that nationwide, replacing 13% of vehicles on the road with AVs over the next 15 years could create 455,000 jobs. Those jobs would be high-paying and accessible without a college degree, with 59% of workers without a degree earning more than the U.S. median wage. AVs can also help supplement when labor gaps exist. Across the country, the trucking industry has experienced extreme turnover and widespread job vacancies, resulting in significant delays to shipments and rising prices for basic necessities. Autonomous trucks can mitigate these costs by filling driver vacancies, bringing down the cost of shipping and consumer goods. Finally, because AVs are typically electric and are programmed to follow traffic rules and speed limits, they ultimately use less energy. Deploying autonomous vehicles can help Maryland reach its emissions reduction goals by 2045. In sum, AVs present tremendous opportunities, and we encourage a favorable report on SB 949. Thank you.
Thank you. But you had talked, you spoke about this legislation as essentially being a job creator, and I guess I'm wondering, on the opposite side, again, if you have Uber and Lyft and these other companies beginning to adopt this technology, I'm looking at it as maybe a job deductor. Would you mind speaking to that concern?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, our organization commissioned some research into sort of the types of jobs that are going to be created with the deployment of AVs. And what we found is that over 15 years, 455,000 jobs could be created. And that is both on the back end in terms of the production of the vehicles, as well as the sort of continuous operations and maintenance.
So you're talking about job creation in general, not necessarily jobs created here in Maryland.
That's correct. That's a nationwide number, but Maryland in particular is well positioned to take a lot of these jobs because of the strength of particularly the research institutions here and the sort of potential for particularly technicians and software developers in Maryland. And I would also say that the threshold of time that we looked at in this report is 15 years, which is quite long, and we did that on purpose, in part because AV technology is still developing, as has been mentioned. It's still in sort of a nascent stage. It hasn't deployed everywhere. It's not going to be deployed overnight in Maryland. And so if there is a job transition, it's going to be extremely gradual. And what we've seen is that a lot of AV companies have already started creating job training programs in conjunction with community colleges. For example, in Texas, there's a new technician training program so that people, if there is sort of a job transition, that they can take on the new skills to be part of the new jobs in the new economy in the future. But that transition is going to be quite slow. So
it's not necessarily jobs where you're creating the cars, but you're actually talking about the servicing of the vehicles.
Correct. Yeah, the upkeep that's necessary to maintain a fleet. Yep.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.